How you doing today, guys? Let's get a look at the Spyderco Farid K2. Hopefully that's the right pronunciation. Anyways, this is a large folder and wanted to get it on video for you guys. This is not my knife. This was in for some anodizing work, as you can see. Went bronze. The customer here wanted the same treatment as I give my Swish Bowie. So you just got a bronze over that factory finish and then bronzed up the hardware. Anyways, I wanted to show the size difference here. This is a large knife and I knew it was going to be by the specs, but I had no idea it was going to be this large. I can't say it's too large. You know, it's a heavy duty folder and it's advertised as such, and it has the blade steel CPM 10V, which is going to be hard to see in this lighting. Maybe you can see it right there. CPM 10V is very tough steel. I like the knife. I was impressed by it, the build quality, everything. I can't say it's absolutely perfect. There is a little bit of lock stick in there. I could not get that out. I even carbonized the face of this and it's still a sticky lock. So I could get that out by releasing some of the tension. There is a lot of tension on this lock bar here, sprung over this way, so it kind of jams it up, and then you have a more flat-faced interface here with the lock. So that's good for wear, and it's good for durability and stability. If you remember, like the old Strider lockup was heavily contoured in that lock area, and then they went to a flatter face that is still ramped for wear. This still has a slight angle to it, but it's not like a cup shape. Like if the lock face was ground like in a round shape like this, that creates problems down the road. This should not have problems down the road, but I've never seen one that didn't benefit very much from carbonizing. So a long way around saying I could, to the owner who owns this knife, I want to show you this video before I send this knife back. I could undo some of your tension here and overextend it, you know, release some of that tension. It would still lock up nice and strong, but I personally feel that that's never the proper fix. Okay, hear me out. And I know some people will suggest that because some of the Hinder XM18s, the new D10s, are shipping pretty tight now, and I've seen some videos where guys are suggesting that you just release some of that tension. I say no. The factory has a lot of research and development, and I think that they have this lock bar sprung over to the mount that they do for a very reason that they do, and us or me modifying it and taking some of the tension out, well, it would take care of some of this stick, if not all of it. It's probably not as safe. So for a big, heavy duty, hard use folder like this, it's not so sticky that you can't unlock it. It's kind of hard right now with one hand to unlock it, but that will break in. It will break in. I haven't had a lot of experience with this K2, but from what I know about titanium and hardened steel lock faces, titanium going up against the hardened steel of the blade, that will go away on its own, and me taking that spring out just makes the knife not as safe. So it's almost like a long-term investment. I'd rather you break this knife in than to modify that lock tension, especially being that this is a large, heavy-duty folder. So that's just my personal opinion. Of course, if you're the owner or if it's your property, you can obviously do whatever you want, but I would never recommend anybody do that. You know, that's just my thoughts on it. I just feel like they have all this torque and all whatever, that they have it all figured out and that they've tested it, and maybe at their testing to make this as strong as they needed it to be, maybe it needed to have that tension on it. So I don't really want to mess with that if possible. It's not that it's hard to do. This knife has a lock bar I can't really call it a stabilizer because it's not. It's an overextender, so you can't push it over too far, over travel. I've been over that time and time again. Real stabilizer also stabilizes going up and down as you squeeze it, as Rick Hinder intended it to. When they're just a button like this without a milled pocket to slide in and out, it's kind of hard to do without taking it apart and showing you. This is just an extender, not really a stabilizer. There is a difference. Anyways, on with the knife. So this does have a slight stick. I know I had to obsess for 5 minutes on it, but had to give you some of my thoughts because I have seen some YouTube videos and some really respected people, you know, saying, you just take some tension out of that. I say no, don't do that. Just live with it. It will break in. All right. You can see the knife is centered up really nice, and this is a large folder, and it's pretty expensive too. So kind of along the same lines as the Bowie here, right? And check out the size difference there. Oh yeah, this is a large knife. I think it's too large for me to want personally in my collection, but I can see somebody having a need and a want for a folder like this. So there's the size difference. You can see the cutting edge. It just dwarfs this thing. And while we're showing some size comparisons, we'll pull out some popular ones that you may have if you're in the market for a higher end production blade. There's a Sebenza 25. You can see it absolutely dwarfs the 25. Here is a SNG. SNG is kind of a smaller EDC size blade in my opinion. To me, it's one of the most perfect EDC designs there is, but you can see it's quite a bit larger. And here's a para 2. Of course, we know the size difference there, but I have a military to show you next, and it'll actually put it into some real perspective. We all know the military full size is a large knife, very useful, you know, so it's not too large, still useful, but you know it's a large knife and it's still larger than that by quite a bit, especially when you talk about how broad that blade is. That is an awesome blade shape. It would be fun to just put this in your pocket and go in the woods and just see what it can do, you know. Make some big marshmallow sticks, maybe make some tent stakes. That CPM 10V, very sturdy, full flat grind. Check out the beautiful satin finish, and that is the factory edge. This knife come to me brand new. I think the owner had it for like a day or two. As soon as he got it in, he sent it over to me, which I appreciate, man. That's awesome. Because me personally, I might have to carry it a few days and then send it out, you know, just until the honeymoon phase was over. But I understand wanting to make it awesome because I had to do mine, so I get it. Not my K2, but my Bowie. So all right, so a few of the differences are this is a flat knife. This is not contoured like the Swish Bowie, which doesn't make a big difference, you know. It does have a rounded area where the jimping would be. I think that makes it very comfortable in your hand. You guys know, though, I'm not one for jimping, so to me this does lock your hand in nice. Now this is not highly textured, so you may have a problem with a traction plan on this, but I think I would do just fine with this. I don't feel like this is going to slip out, especially how you have this kind of a finger choil here. It locks your hand in, and then it also ramps down here and locks your hand in, and then it contours the hand nice right here, much like a military. So you see how this comes down and kind of cups your hand in, and then this extends down to towards the back of your palm. This almost has the same feel to it. So yeah, it's a large knife, 10V. It's a beast. I don't have a lot of experience with 10V blade steel, but I know a lot of people do choppers and other really hard use knives, and I think I've seen some competition knives, like, you know, the big choppers for competition cutting, done in this 10V steel. So it's pretty popular. I think it's right up there with like M4, if not way higher in edge retention and toughness than M4. I'm not sure on that, so look that up. So we already talked about the lock face. This also does have the same, I wouldn't even call it an issue, the same design as this one, where you have the flat portion here that meets up against your stop pin. But I have to tell you, after probably what, about a month now of playing with this knife, and I've almost had it in my pocket every single day since I've owned it, that lockup has not moved at all. Right there's the proof. If you guys want to go back and check my other video, pretty much showing this thing brand new, and you can see I've been carrying it. There's use marks on it. Anodizing, even just straight up anodizing, is pretty durable. You can see, this is not an update on this knife, but I kind of wanted to show you. You can see where this wire clip has scratched back and forth a little bit. But other than that, it's pretty much, I wouldn't say new, but it's still pretty much perfect looking. Can I say that about my own stuff? It's just anodizing. It's tough. Anodizing is not some delicate finish that you can't carry. Just know that if it's all one color and you bump it up against your keys, or you have a lanyard bead and it taps on this a few times, it will leave a little love tap on it, a little snail trail. But it's pretty durable. I mean, I use this knife and I don't baby it in any way. So anyways, this had the same treatment on it. That's why I'm saying that. Just showing off the color there, nice and uniform. Check out the back spacer there. It's like a larger bead almost. Nicely done. It's screwed in on both sides. Some of these mid-tech knives you're seeing, I think they're cutting corners. It's just not how I would design a knife. They have screws go in one side and they thread into the lock side here, which to me is not a long-term solution to put a knife together. It should be two screws on both sides coming in with a threaded center, threaded standoff. There's your lanyard tube. Anyways, it's nice. I don't know why this is cut out wavy. It must just be a design thing. We've talked about why the cutout would be on the outside instead of the inside. So you guys know all about that. More hard use folders usually have it on the outside. Not always, but usually. Another thing, this is only tip down, and Spyderco usually likes to do that on their larger knives. They just feel it's a little safer, you know, so that this can't kick up in your pocket, which is why the military currently only comes in tip down. Just the larger knives, they do it like that. I'm not saying I agree. This detent is very strong on this. You know, the blade stock is not overly thick. This is a heck of a slicer. This would be a great folding camp knife. It really would be. Nice and hard use. Has that nice Bowie style blade, which gives you a broad blade, still a sharp tip, and a ton of belly. And then it's full flat ground. And then out of the 10V, I think it's a winner. Now, I personally don't think I'll be putting one of these in my collection just because it's a little too large. It's not overly heavy. If I had to guess, I think it's around 6 ounces, maybe 5.5 or so. I don't know. I don't really do specs. But anyways, I'm impressed. I like it a lot. If you think you would like it, I think you will like it. Really nice, beautiful action. Of course, when I had it apart, I polished up the washers just a touch. And that's the Spyderco K2 Farid folder. My impressions, definitely not a review. I have not carried it and cut with it, but from everything I know, thinnish blade. It's not overly thick, it's not thin. What I'm saying, for a hard use knife, that's a great stock for cutting. So there it is. You can see it next to the SNG. I think the style and the trend of everybody going as thick as possible for overbuilt folders, hopefully, I can't say hopefully, there's different, everybody's got different needs and asks for every seat. But I personally would rather have a hard use knife in this blade stock here, especially when you're gearing it towards being a slicing knife, right? So this is a heck of a cutter. That's not to take away from the harder use overbuilt knives that are thicker, because I think the SNG cuts great for what it is, and I can do another video on why I feel like this is one of the best all-around hard use knives in my opinion. I think everything's a compromise, you know, almost like everything in life, but it's not too thick, and you can still pry and stuff with it. But I have to tell you, when I went camping, I took a few knives when we went camping last summer, and we'll be going camping again. The kids loved it. I had not this SNG, I had my Lego SNG, and I had my military. Can you guess which one I had in my pocket, and I thought I was going to use, was the SNG. Guess which one stayed in my pocket throughout the weekend? The military. It sure did. Yep, it's a liner lock. Why? Thinner, full flat ground blade, long handle, no hot spots on the jimping, nothing like that. This was a great camp knife. When Sal Glesser designed this to be the ultimate military knife, something he would send his son or somebody into combat with, I think he hit it right on the head. And I think this is along the same lines as this. It's just a frame lock titanium. You know, it's different, obviously, but I think it's along the same use philosophy. Nice longer blade, something that will slice well, very strong lock, titanium on both sides, you know, almost indestructible, 10V blade steel. It's a winner. I think it's a little too large for me personally to EDC, so that's that. It would make an awesome camp knife, really would. And maybe if you need a larger knife for EDC, you know, your life's different than mine, obviously, so somebody may really take to this knife for their EDC. It's got the nice clip that Spyderco uses, same hourglass shape. The style is more along the lines of a Chris Reeve style, where it's a milled-in pocket with one screw to keep it from going back and forth this way, back and forth. That's a milled-in pocket there. You can see everything's nice and tight, no gaps. Has the single screw, and then the overall shape is like the hourglass frame of the clip you guys all know and love. That's on a lot of their knives now, so that's it. That's really it, guys. Thanks a lot for checking out the video. Tons more to come. See ya.